In the dead of night on April 26, 1986, a nuclear reactor exploded like a volcano, releasing more radiation than 100 Hiroshima bombs. This is the full true story of Chernobyl, the worst nuclear disaster in human history. Deep in northern Ukraine, the Chernobyl nuclear power plant stood as a proud symbol of Soviet power. Next to it was the young city of Pripyat, home to nearly 50,000 people. On April 25, reactor number 4 was due for maintenance. Engineers decided to run a safety test during the shutdown, a test to see if the turbines could provide emergency power to the cooling pumps. The test was poorly planned and rushed. The night shift, led by Deputy Chief Engineer Anatoly Dyatlov, pushed ahead even as the reactor became dangerously unstable. At low power, xenon gas built up, and operators withdrew too many control rods. By 1 a.m., the reactor was in a precarious state. At 1:23 a.m., they started the test. Steam flow was cut. Coolant slowed. Because of the RBMK reactor's fatal design flaw, known as a positive void coefficient, steam bubbles caused the nuclear reaction to surge violently. Operators hit the emergency shutdown button, but the graphite-tipped control rods made things worse in the first seconds. Power skyrocketed to over 100 times normal levels. The core overheated. Fuel rods shattered. At 1:23 and 44 seconds a.m., a massive steam explosion blew the 1,000-ton reactor lid off. Seconds later, a second explosion ripped the building apart, exposing the burning graphite core to the open sky. Radioactive fire shot into the air. 2 workers died immediately. Firefighters and plant staff rushed in without knowing the full danger. They fought flames on the roof while standing on glowing radioactive graphite. Many received lethal radiation doses within minutes. 28 of the first responders would later die from acute radiation sickness. For 36 hours, authorities stayed silent. Children played outside in Pripyat as radioactive fallout fell. Finally, on April 27, the city was evacuated. Residents were told it was only for 3 days. They never returned. Pripyat became a ghost town. The Soviet Union tried to hide the disaster, but Swedish monitors detected the radiation plume and forced Moscow to admit the truth. Over 600,000 liquidators, soldiers, miners, and civilians were sent in to clean up. Helicopter pilots dropped sand and lead directly over the blazing reactor. Miners dug underneath in extreme heat. Men cleared the roof in 40-second shifts because robots failed. Hundreds of tons of radioactive material spread across Europe. Thyroid cancers surged in children. Thousands of square kilometers were contaminated. The long-term death toll remains debated, but the human suffering was immense: cancers, trauma, and ruined lives. Chernobyl exposed the deadly mix of flawed Soviet technology, secrecy, and disregard for safety. A massive concrete sarcophagus was built, later replaced by a giant steel confinement structure in 2016. The disaster changed nuclear safety worldwide forever. It accelerated the fall of the Soviet Union and left a haunting warning: when arrogance meets powerful technology, catastrophe follows. The ruins still stand today: a dead city, an entombed reactor, and a scar on history that will never fully heal.